Should be good.
I wore a hat today because I was between you guys. I thought it would look better if I didn't have my shaggy hair.
Well, I don't have a hat on because I shaved my head and it looks fresh today.
And it's nice and tan. You were like, what were you doing last week?
Yeah, so just got back from the beach and Sam was there now, so that's why Sam's not here. So got a little glow to me, a little southern glow.
A little color.
Yeah. I think you need a little color.
I know, I'm pretty much opaque. I think is the terminology. I'm clear.
That's all right. That's good. You got any vacation set up or anything, Phil?
Florida, August.
Nice. Everybody's going. You were in Florida. I'm going to Florida next a couple of weeks.
Good.
You're in August. So. Florida. I hear everybody's in Florida. Everybody I'm talking to is going to Florida.
It's a good time.
It's not out of the country.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not out of the country. It's beaches. It's warm.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go to Jacksonville. I've never been.
Yeah, I don't know much about Jacksonville.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I'm going to check it out.
Check it out.
It'll be fun.
Report back.
I will. Welcome for joining it. Welcome to our live stream.
There you go.
I'm like tongue-tied today.
This is live?
Live.
Oh, man, no.
Yeah.
We go live every Thursday at 11:30. Today we have Philip Vincent with us. Lucas, as always, Lucas Walls. Brian Schroeder here. Our other partner, Sam Prim, is in Florida. Or on an airplane now, I think. I think he's on his way back. But we have a real estate company in the St. Louis area. We do a lot of flipping. We buy houses, rehab, and resell them. We do some wholesaling. In our flipping business, we're going to do 180 some deals this year.
Yep.
We have a hard money lending business, lend money to other rehabbers and landlords in St. Louis. We got rentals.
Got a few.
We've got a bunch of rentals, and we love rentals. We got a traditional brokerage, and we have an education business. This is our education business. Thanks for joining us, guys. If you would, hit that like button, that share button, or subscribe button. Any of those buttons, they all help us spread the word. We love to get the word out about our live stream and all the other things that we are doing here. Love it. We love questions.
Yes. Drop your questions in the chat box and we will get to them throughout this live stream.
Yeah, especially if you have questions for Philip or Lucas or any questions. But we're going to be talking to Philip here in just a bit. So if you got any questions about what he's doing, just throw them in the chat box. But if you have any real estate investment related question, we're here to see if we can answer them. So fill up that chat box with questions, or if you just want to make fun of Philip for some reason, that's fine too.
For his
I can take it. Yeah.
All right. We always kind of like to start us off with just kind of like a status of how the market's doing. Because the market, I don't know, it's been resilient through the virus. I feel like I don't even know if we're still in the virus. I kind of like almost forget that it's still out there sometimes.
Yeah. Depending on who you talk to.
Yeah.
And I think it's a weird time in 21 years in real estate that the market is great and the sky is falling to some. And it's usually not. Those usually are very different.
Yes.
And how is the sky falling and the market is great? And this is the first time I've ever felt both together. Usually they the sky is falling usually follows the bad news, right? And we've had bad news in the real estate industry has actually gotten better in some, not commercial. We're talking about single family residential right now. If I owned a whole bunch of big box stores, I probably wouldn't be saying that thing. It starts perspective.
Yeah.
Yes, the local market's crazy still, and it's unbelievable how resilient it is. And that's here in St. Louis. But I was in Florida last week, and we actually met with a couple real estate agents, and for a new build beach house, just was interested in it.
Nice.
But
I like it.
He got right off the vacation too, so he was actually doing business.
Exactly.
Right.
Were you thinking about it for real?
Yeah,
Nice.
for real. Still thinking about it. But what I was getting at with that is
Can I go stay there?
Yes.
I think you should do
By
it.
Airbnb link.
I will give you a 5% discount.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But they were saying the market has really picked back up down there as well
Yeah.
too. Even for that, $500,000-$600,000 kind of expensive range, it's really rocking and rolling on. I would call that the coast still.
Yeah.
So that's crazy to me.
Wow.
Good. We'll take it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's just roll through all the stuff that we do really quick. We always do a quick update on our leads. How have our leads been the last week?
Rachel just told me 27.
That's good.
Well, that's great. That's
We're
a great
happy with that.
lead week. I think we're going to get about 3 under contract this week, which is just fine. We shoot for about 3 or 4. Same with sales. Actually, probably more than that. We had a lot of verbals last week that turned into contracts this week, so probably 5 sales under contract. And did we list a house last weekend? And it was I think our 6th rehab in a row that went over asking the first weekend it was listed. So
Are all those CJ projects?
yes, shout out to CJ.
CJ, thank you. We need, that's what we needed. Right.
Good. All right, and rent collection has been good. I think it's been solid. No concerns with tenants?
No, we've actually had a couple that got far behind, and they came this week and dropped thousands of dollars to stay out of evictions. So it's a win-win. I look at it. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of evictions, I haven't thought about that for a little while, but I think the courts are starting to open back up. Do you have any update on that?
Well, yeah, not really, but as far as like the paperwork goes and working with your attorney, all that can still happen.
Yeah.
And those tenants start to get notified about that happening.
Yeah.
That's when they think it's real.
Sure.
Not when the courts are open.
Yeah. I don't know if the courts are officially open yet, but I think they're opening sometime in the next couple of weeks, but I'm not 100% sure. But let's do a quick shout out to our trusted vendor of the week. It is True Title this week. They are the title company that we do pretty much all of our closings with. I thought that was Tara walking up the steps.
I did too. I thought it was Tara. Speaking of True.
Rachel, you look a little bit like Tara.
Yeah.
But yeah, True Title is a fantastic title company, very investor friendly, I would say. John Duckworth, who is one of the owners of True Title, is super sharp and gets back to people really quick if you have any issues with any of your title stuff. So big shout out to True Title. I always recommend. I think they got like 10 locations through the St. Louis metro area, so that you can close, anywhere in town. We have an office. One of True Title's offices right in our office here in St. Charles. But anyway, shout out to True Title, great title company.
Yeah, let's get to a couple comments here. Dusty Sanders, I think, is on the beach this week as well. What's up, fellas? What's up, Dusty?
Are you still on the beach, Dusty? Let us know.
Yeah. We got Sam Prim chiming in. What's up, Sam?
There he is on the beach right there. Amazing.
That's live.
Yep. And then we got Brian Johnson. What's up, fellas? Looking swole today, Phil.
Nice.
And then Sam said Brian is in the middle of a bald-headed warrior.
That's true.
All right.
Yeah.
And then one more from Brian Johnson. Luke and Phil are dressed so alike today. Looks like he's speaking to himself 10 years ago. That's good.
That is good. I love it.
Brian, what's going on? Thanks for joining, man.
Good stuff. So let's just jump into talking to Philip here. So Philip, how long your primary one of your gigs that you do is you buy houses for FasterFreedom.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing that?
Since 2011.
2011.
2011, I've been doing acquisitions for Pastor House, and so I've seen a lot of fun growth and changes in Pastor House. When you name all the different things, when I started, it was flipping.
Yep.
And now there's a lot of the education and the hard money. They all go hand in hand. And I think the thing that you like growth, but you like it in a controlled environment. You do things right, and so that's why Pastor House, the culture here is so good. Is because it's one driving line, but it's slow and steady. That's what you want.
Were you a wholesaler of some sort before Faster House?
Great question. I didn't know what wholesaling was.
Yeah.
I had met a pretty big name in St. Louis back in 2006 when I got my real estate license.
Who's that?
Paul Myers.
Oh yeah.
And I met him, and he told me what he did, and I was like, yeah, that's not that big. I thought it was such a small part of the market that you couldn't make a living from it, right?
Yeah.
And now I know today half of transactions are not from the MLS. They're not from agents. Half. And a lot of that's because when somebody passes away and the title changes, so it's not all sales. But what I'm saying is that the market was way bigger, and so maybe me not realizing that in 2006 what was happening saved me from the 2008.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really get. I think I've always been a wholesaler, and I'll give the story of. I built a $1 million spec house, my first one in 2007. Well, I stalked that seller because it was on my way home from church every Sunday, and I would see him out there. He would mow it once a week, and he'd be out there on Sunday, and I'd drive by, and I'd stop in, and I'd just start talking to him.
It was a vacant lot?
It was a house that it's a sad story, and his wife had died from cancer in 1985.
Wow. He
was a very wealthy man. He just went there to mow it, and
he couldn't bring himself to sell the house.
He just couldn't sell it. But he met me, and I said, "Here's what I want to do," and I was tenacious about it. And it was more the relationship side. It took to where he started to know me, and I'd stop in every Sunday and just say hi, even if it was 2 minutes, And finally, he sold that house. It probably needed to be sold 30 years before, but whatever reason.
So you were doing wholesaler things before you even knew
I've always
what
been
a
a
wholesaler was.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, it's in my nature, I guess. So, yeah.
So you bought that property?
Yeah, bought it, tore it down, built a big, beautiful spec there, and only lost a new Lamborghini. I call it the Lamborghini house.
I remember you telling me that story before.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you got a good buy on the lot?
No.
Okay.
No, I think I paid what it was worth.
Okay.
And I think, and this is maybe like a new wholesaler problem. A lot of new wholesalers will say, I need to buy, or investors, I need to buy a $15,000 house that needs an $80,000 rehab.
Yeah.
When really they should be buying an $80,000 house that needs a $15,000. And I think
easier.
My point to that was, and not to get all into the minutia of the whole deal, but I could have bought a lot in Town and Country for like $425.
Okay.
And it was between that one and the lot I bought for $325 in Chesterfield. Now a very nice part. Now without getting into all the details of the two towns, Town and Country, they're both great towns, but Town and Country is much stronger on the new construction. That $100,000 I thought I saved on the lot. I didn't, because I got rid of that many more customers.
Yeah.
And I would have built the same house. So it wasn't the product, it was the lot choice.
You bought a house that really should have been in Town and Country, and you put it in Chesterfield.
That's right. Thinking I saved $100,000.
Yeah. That's a good lesson.
It's retrospect though, right? It's
Yeah.
easy with hindsight. All
Yeah.
of this is easy to question.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable that you're still in real estate after that.
Sure.
in your first deal.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
You got to break some eggs, right, to make omelets. So I think if you're in this business long enough, you will take a loss. It's just you need to mitigate that, and that's not the norm, right? We're talking maybe 0.1 out of 100, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Well, good. So nowadays you're buying for Faster House.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about that. So when you get a lead on a house, what kind of homework do you do before you go out to the property to meet with the seller?
in 21 years, you can tell me a street name, I probably will know the zip code. People are like, how do you do that? Well, I've been doing it a long time, right? And I know this local market. I know when something sounds out of whack, just enough, right? Just enough to kind of have a conversation. I do a little bit of just online research to see if it's sold recently. I want to know if they just bought this a year ago versus 20 years ago. The notes are always handy because, we try to answer the phone live here. That's one of the big differentiators in Faster House than a lot of the other people, is that if you have a broken air conditioner, you're going to keep calling until you get a human that's going to say, I'll come fix it. And I think it's the same way with real estate. When they go, oh, Phil's coming tomorrow at 1 to come look at the house, they don't have to call everybody else on the list. And so I know it's very important to do my research quickly, just so that way I can call them so they stop calling everyone else in town. Like, I want to get to that lead first.
And Tammy in our office is our inside sales agent, and she's the one that takes those calls. And one of these days we'll get Tammy on here.
She's perfect for that role too, right?
Yeah.
She's like one of the nicest people in the world, right? So that's what you want.
She starts building rapport with the seller right off the bat.
You got it.
Question from CJ here. Build a little credibility for yourself. How many deals you think you've done, Phil?
My whole life?
Yeah.
Or multiple hundreds. I just don't know which number into the hundreds it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
probably the mid.
Yeah, I was going to say 500, but I don't think it's quite 500. So I'd take the under on 500, but way over 2. Like 300 or 400. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, but
It's a lot of deals.
It's a lot of deals. Yeah. And you've seen a lot of stuff, right? We've gone through it enough to be, there's usually not something that catches you up that you haven't seen before or something like it. And so it's hard for me to take that. Like, if you had a best deal in Chicago, I don't know. I wouldn't know if it's a good deal.
Yeah.
Because I don't, in this business, you have to trust we call it the ARV guys. It's the after repair value. And until you know that, I can't do the rest of my job.
Yeah.
Until you believe that number. Mm-hmm. And I think in a market like today, it's good, right? So we want to believe. I don't think we're going to try to set records, but you want to be, can you be aggressive and conservative at the same time? Just, you better believe your ARV, because everything else doesn't work out at the back end if you don't believe that.
Yeah. Great points.
Yeah. So you've bought a lot of houses over the years, and you and I talked a little bit about this, but on average, would you say you buy about one a week? Is that about
at least?
Average?
Yeah.
How do you feel if you go 2 or 3 weeks without buying a house?
2 or 3?
Yeah.
If I go a week and a day, I feel like nobody loves me. I'll never buy a house again. I don't know this. Yeah. No. I like to have action. New deal. New deal. The next thing. I need that, and it's enough of a variety that keeps just my personality,
Yeah.
that helps me a lot. I
I
can't
think
do the
it's
same thing over and over.
I think it's good for people that are newer to the business that hear from somebody that's bought so many houses that if you start to have a drought even for a couple of weeks, you start to have doubts, even though you've been doing this for so long.
Yep. And even we know we've been in this long enough that it's even seasonal that happens. And it still doesn't make it feel better.
No.
It still hurts, but you're like, oh, and then it comes back and then you're like super busy, can't see straight. And so it all, in the end, but
it all evens out.
Yeah.
Some weeks you buy 3 houses, and they'll just fall together super easy.
Yeah, and then some weeks you look back and go, was that 4 weeks? What the heck?
Yeah.
Because you're always talking to people in that time. You're not actually doing nothing. It's just it didn't work out yet. You know, and that right now we're working on that big deal in South County, right?
Yeah.
One of the most unique deals ever.
I was hoping we were going to talk about it today.
She called me today and said the one daughter has until Thursday. I guess today is Thursday, right? Thursday of next week. She's trying to get a loan to buy it.
Okay. So let's talk about that. So not that specific deal, but that situation, because I feel like a lot of times you go. So a lot of houses that we buy, maybe somebody's passed away and kids inherit the house.
Yep.
And you got 5 brothers and sisters.
Exactly right in this case. Yeah, 5 brothers and sisters, and one of the kids wants to buy it, even though it doesn't fit their lifestyle needs or anything, and it's more the emotion side of it.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about a cheap house here. This is almost $1 million project, right? And so they're going to try to buy it for the same price we offer. So we set the anchor, right? Yeah. But I get it from their family. And I told Hannah that today. I said, I get that you want your family to buy it. And they should. They should buy it. That is the highest and best use. Yeah. I said, if I was your brother, I would want that too.
Yeah.
And I think that just being real with people goes a long way. You know, and so many people in this business, they have such a hard time just doing what they say. Yeah. Man, you can get a lot of good referrals and things. Just do what you say, and it's so hard for people to do that. Yeah. And so I don't think it's in my mind it's not dead at all. I think next Thursday we'll buy it.
Because from our experience, I would say I've been in that scenario maybe 100 times.
Yep.
And I would say 95 times the family member did not buy it.
Yes, that's correct.
About 5 times they do out of 100.
Yeah, about 5 times. Right, and even though we're rooting for them.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I'm good
to a certain degree.
I mean, what I always say, when I show up, I'm there to buy your house. Like I make it known that's what I'm there to do that day. But I think I have an abundance mentality. That's very much a Faster House trait. Is that there is another deal tomorrow.
Yes.
And you can't get so wound up. And I think when you're first starting off in this business, you live and die with those deals because unless you make that $3,000, $5,000 wholesale fee, now you don't have the $2,000 to do your direct mail marketing next month, and it's just like that rut, that weird, to get the train moving. And so, fortunately for us, we've been doing it so long that we're past all that. We know the machine's going to stay on, and so it gives you that ability to not be so live and die with every deal. Yeah,
and I think you do a great job of maybe passing over a deal if it doesn't hit your criteria, and then that allows you to get these big juicy wholesale feels a lot of times. But you're still also looking for those singles, those $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 wholesale fees.
They add up to at the end of the year. They add up to. You got to have those to fill in.
Love it.
Yep.
So let's talk about when you actually go out and meet with a seller. Do you want to just kind of share what you do when you're meeting with someone, when you knock on the door, when you go through the house, just share how that goes?
In my life, I have a long history of knocking on doors. And so you can build rapport before you even say hi to them, and that is with a smile. If you're standing at the front door smiling, I've learned to position myself away from the door. You don't want to be staring right in their window when they walk up. That's like, and I'm a big dude, so I don't want to be like right in their window. I like to look away halfway. They can see my smile. I'm always looking down. I'm not like shifting. In this day and age, there's crazy people out there. I'm trying to look as least crazy as possible, right? I want to be as most unintimidating as possible. I have a smile. This COVID we've been dealing with, people have been wearing masks lately. Hopefully, that's kind of changing. I'd always pull my mask down and say, I just want you to know there's a real person under here. And then I was laughing. So that's kind of already overdone. But at least I try to make the best of every situation. I know we're there for a business transaction, but in their mind, it's so much more. There's so much more going on with their family, with the stuff, with 100 other questions. And, we can get into the horror stories of my brother's kids showed up and ransacked the house and just emotions, right? And so for me, I talk with authority. I know we can close on this house. I want to be something that's solid for them. Because everything else is wishy-washy. I'm not going to be that for him. I can make this pain go away today.
Love it.
That's my goal.
Yeah.
And so when I'm there to build rapport. I spend very little time talking about the house. I'm pretty good at having a conversation and putting the little questions that I need answered into the conversation without it being the predominant thing in the conversation.
Nice.
That's good. I think that's really important.
Quick break real quick, Brian. Just talk about we're here live with Philip Vincent.
Whoa, we're live?
If you're just joining us, Philip's done over 350 plus deals in the past 8 years. Brian Schroeder, Lucas Walls, put your questions in the chat box if you got anything for us. And we do have one question I'd like to get to.
Ooh, what is it?
Quick. It's a cool question.
Hi, Craig.
Hi, Craig. I'm new and wondering when you think everyone will be meeting again in person. I'd really like to meet everyone and get started. So I think Craig's talking about our Faster House Buyers Club that we have the third Thursday of every month.
Next week.
We're back at it. So come on out to Water's Edge Banquet Center next week, Craig, in St. Peter's. It's the new St. Peter's golf course connected to it. So come on out, Craig. We'd love to see you.
Good, great question. I'm excited to see everybody in person again. It's
we will be grateful for that. That thing we didn't think, right?
Yes.
Having that taken away is a weird feeling, and to get that back, we're going to be excited.
I'm going to stay so late just because I can.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
You want to? How about CJ's Charles question up there? You want to hit that one?
Yeah.
Philip.
Oh man.
Do you know what's the biggest wholesale fee you've ever gotten?
On a single transaction?
Yeah, single transaction. Could be multiple doors, but single transaction.
155.
155,000.
155,000 on one deal.
That's a big freaking
That's
wholesale
It's a
fee.
big deal.
That's 3 years of work for some people. You know what I mean?
Sure.
4 or 5 years to be another person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, just that's crazy.
Real estate will
awesome.
change your life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reason why so many people have these products about how you real estate really can change your life. You know, it's just there's 1,000 jobs you could have in real estate too.
Yeah.
So I think it's all comes down to your personality, right? I just know for me, I was never going to be a retail real estate agent.
Yeah.
For many reasons, but that's okay. And I think the old adage used to be to try to double down, triple down on what you're bad at. And I think today we've grown past that, and we know that you should surround yourself with the people that do those things that you don't want to do, and you stay. And that's a faster house.
Focus on your strengths.
The traction model, right?
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. Craig also asked about our FasterFreedom class, which I believe Craig's talking about our master coaching program that we have. So if you're interested in the master program coaching, reach out to Sam Prim or Rachel Mendoza, and we'll get you lined up with an application for that. But overall, long story short, the class has resumed. So it's exciting.
And we got our boot camp, our live boot camp, cash flow creation boot camp on June 27th.
Yes, and we got webinars. If you're looking to build a rental portfolio of cash flowing houses, we have a webinar we'd love you guys to be a part of too.
I love the questions in the
DJ
stream.
has a
Check
good
out
one.
the Brian's there.
It's a great question. Phil, do you always leave an offer on every appointment, even if you are far apart on price or the seller may not be ready yet?
Yes, would be the overall answer there. Sometimes I don't when I know I'm the first of 3 or 4 appointments that day.
Yeah.
Because once I put the line in the sand, I feel like they've anchored me.
Yeah.
I don't want to anchor myself, right? I'll give them a lot of ish.
What if you know there's a few people coming after you? Do you try to get it locked up then and there?
Oh, yes, and I let's say we're $5,000 away. I will say, so if I come up that $5,000, are we done today? And you're going to call the. I say, will you call the other people and let's go ahead and be done with this? And you would be surprised at how many people say yes.
Is that right?
Because they don't want to deal with it.
They don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
If I just said, I'll hit your number,
Yes.
then we're done, right? There's no more. And they'll say yes a lot of times. And so, like I said, when I show up, I am there to buy the house. I'm there to get it under contract. Now, it doesn't always go the way I want, and that's okay. But my goal is to always leave. And being far apart, I've never had a seller tell me that I've offered too much.
No.
So I'm used to that feeling. Far apart on price is the business, right? It's the dance back to.
Phil, I used to go on a lot of appointments with you. We haven't been on one together for a long time.
Yeah.
But I very clearly remember sitting in a lady's house over in Florissant where she was at 100 and you were at 50. And we sat there for a good hour, having good conversation, enjoying seeing what other issues she had.
Yeah.
And we ended up walking out of there with a contract. And I think we were at maybe 55 or something like that.
And what it came down to in the end was not even the house and the price. It was a piece of furniture that she wanted to have moved. And
that was it.
And I think some people.
And it wasn't even that big a piece of furniture.
No, it was a hutch. No, but that was her concern, right?
She needed it moved into her senior center.
And most people, when they're so far away, they're like, thank you for your time. They want to get out of the door as quickly as possible.
Yes, that's true.
Right? I want to get out of the door as quickly as possible after the contract is signed. It's the only difference.
Yeah. More often than not, price is not the underlying motivation.
One of
them. But finding what that motivation truly is the art. I think.
Yeah, it is the art.
And I remember that lady in that piece of furniture, and she had already called all of her kids, and they were just tired because they had already moved a lot of stuff.
This is the last piece.
It was the last piece, and she couldn't find anybody to help her to move that last piece. And that was the thing when you offered to do that. She signed the contract right there.
And it maybe took us that hour to get there, right?
Yeah.
Because we just talking price only, we would have never gotten to that real pain point.
Yeah.
And would you say most of your contracts that you leave are paper, correct? Or
in-person paper or real contract? It makes it real. I always explain to somebody when I leave them with a hard contract that for some reason in our business, even if you talk to 2 or 3 other investment companies, they might say, we'll get back to you with an offer. And then a lot of times they don't. Then that makes me wonder, what business are they in? You're in the business of marketing, going on appointments, looking at the house, and then never actually making contact after that? Like what?
That's a bad business.
I don't understand it. At least hear the no. Like they don't even give themselves the opportunity to be told no if they don't make it. And why I get at that is I don't want I'm big on I don't have like sign this by 5 o'clock tomorrow or it's gone. I'm very much on I want your family to want to sell me this house. So I don't put like an exploding offer there.
Nice.
But what I don't want is that thing to sit out there forever.
Yeah.
And I kind of like make them think to themselves, hey, let's figure out how long I'm going to let this linger with all these offers before I make a decision. Whether it's yes or no, I don't care. It's just don't let it go months.
Yeah.
Let's make this happen in a week or 2.
Right.
We got a couple other questions up there.
All right. What do we have? Joe.
When a lead call comes in, what are the top 3 questions you need to get answered or information you would like to get from that lead?
So Tammy does our leads for us, or does these 3 questions. Tammy is role is to not to qualify necessarily. She asks a little bit of questions. That's kind of what I do. So I think, Joe, what you mean is what do I do when I get there? I'll probably narrow it down to 2 things, maybe 3. The 2 things are motivation and equity, right? If you just bought your house 2 minutes ago, you're negative equity, right? And if you have owned it for years, you probably have some sort of equity. And the reason why I'm looking for that is that we don't do a lot of short sales necessarily. Right. We do some, but we always say a lead that has potential is a person that can say yes to my offer based on what they owe. Yeah. And that's what I'm looking for. So motivation is the highest one that we're looking for. Motivation comes in many, many forms. Some of them are good and some are not. So, but we help with all situations. Yeah. We've seen everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Let's just talk a little bit about what Tammy collects, because when a lead calls in, Tammy's the one that builds rapport.
Yep.
And I don't know all the list of things she asks, but she'll ask the address of the property,
email, phone number. Why are you selling? I think she does ask it. Yeah.
Try to get an idea of the condition of the property.
What kind of work that it's in need. Yeah.
If there's any recent updates.
Yeah. I think she also asks how much they owe on the property.
Yep.
And I think she gets that like most of the time. There's every once in a while there's somebody that doesn't want to share that, but it's not very often.
Here's a good freebie. If you ever ask somebody what they owe on the property and they don't want to tell you, you'll never buy that house.
Yeah, it's probably too much.
Well, you're never going to buy it.
Yeah.
If they are so sensitive to that information that I've never bought a house if they won't tell me that number.
Yeah. So anyway, just the basic information on the house is what we try to get. That way you can do some research on it before you go look at the house.
Yeah, and even though we were talking about the 100 down to 50 on that other deal, I've had people tell me they went 60, but they owed nothing, and I still went on the appointment and got it bought, and for I think it was $10,000 because it was in a part of town where it wasn't. 60 was even beyond retail, but that was okay. I think I always say this is America. You should ask for whatever you want. It doesn't mean go get it. It's just you should always be able to ask. Well, it's your property.
If there's equity in the deal, if they're calling you and they have equity in the house, go on that appointment. You've got to shout.
They raise their hand and say, I want to sell this piece.
Right.
So that brings up a couple of thoughts in my head. So number one is, how do you find out how much they're asking? Do you try to get them to throw out a number first?
Sure.
Yeah.
And if they don't, I go automatically into how I even step away from our talk right now and I say, well, here's how we buy other houses. Does this sound like something you'd be agreeable with?
Yeah.
Right. And that usually helps make it I'm not saying this is what my offer is for your house.
Yeah.
It's like, this is how I buy other houses. I would like to, and I said, we don't buy every house. That's fine. But I'm going to try my best to make a number that works for both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. And we talked a lot about equity here a minute ago. And obviously we prefer houses that have a ton of equity in them.
Yeah.
But I know we've all bought houses when somebody's had to bring money to the closing. Can you think of anybody that had to bring a lot of money to a closing?
I think I remember you had one that was like almost 40,000, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember I bought one over in Florissant. It was about 40,000.
Yeah. Two sisters.
Yep.
Yeah.
They inherited their dad's house.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think they had plenty of money cash that came in, but there was some big mortgage on the house.
Yeah, and that's pretty rare, right, to do that. I think more on the super low end, we've had people pay us to take houses even.
That's true.
Right? I mean, I think that, $1,000 to go away kind of a deal. And so I think most people just check out sometimes, like in the super low end, you can buy houses for a few $1,000s sometimes.
Yeah, I remember Corey Boyles when he was a buyer with us making a negative offer of like negative $7,500. Yeah, and I think we could sell it for nothing. We make $7,500 something like that. Yeah. Question from CJ: what's your favorite lead source, Philip?
For me, it's always been the senior living industry. When you think about the adult children and what they're going through when they're helping their mom move into senior living, there's this outside pressure that's very different than any of the other leads we work. I think in real estate, a big lead source is probate, and I love probate leads. Yeah. But let's say the three of us are brothers, and now we're going through probate. That means mom's already passed away, right? And so now when we sell that house for $100,000, we know we're getting $33,000 a piece, right? But when mom's still alive and she's moving into senior living, if we get 100 or 97 or 94, it kind of doesn't matter because we're not getting that money.
Yeah.
It's just more, will these knuckleheads show up and close and pay us the money so I have money to pay for mom's care?
Yeah.
And that's a fundamental brain difference, right? It's more, can these people be competent and show up at the right time for closing? Because they're, it's always mom's care is the number one. Then way down here is the house and the stuff. And I help a lot with the house and the stuff. Yeah. And so but what I do get is the satisfaction of seeing that pressure, like I can see their shoulders get bigger.
Yeah.
Once we make the deal happen.
Yeah.
And I've been noticing it a lot too. Like families fight so much that, let's say there's three sisters, I'll sometimes deal with the son-in-law because the mom put the son-in-law in charge because she knows the three sisters can't make a decision together. Right. And that poor son-in-law, when you get a son-in-law, here's a good one. When you get a son-in-law who's not related, there's a reason. And so just make that guy's pain go away. He doesn't want to be in mom's basement dragging up taxes from 1973 and the Bowflex and and so, that's one of my favorite things. So people in the senior living industry are good lead referrers to me. That's my favorite.
Love it.
That's awesome.
Thank you for the question, CJ. And thank you for the answer, Philip.
So one of the things that I know you kind of have a passion for is the tear down type properties. Can you talk a little bit about that? Why you like those, how you develop those, how you sell those?
Sure. It comes back to my personality again. I like working with builders because they're not emotional. Yeah. It's do the numbers work, I'll take it. And builders have this, I like to solve people's problems. The builders have a problem. They will have a couple come in, they will spend 6 months with them, picking everything out. We're talking about $1 million houses, right? $1 million to $10 million houses, like high end. They will spend all their time holding their hand, getting everything bid out. Does anyone ever go under budget, do you think?
No.
Never. So what they do is, holy crap, we thought our budget was $2 million, but now we've just spent whatever it is, like almost the full $2 million on the house. Now they want to push down the pricing on the lot. Well, that doesn't work that way. Right. And so if I have these lots that are non-MLS, there's something sexy about something that's not that no one else can see. A house is an inanimate object, whether it's on the MLS or not, but I have this product that the public doesn't see. And so builders love when I call them because like, what do you got? Because they're probably working with somebody. Like right now, if I got a lead in Webster Groves, I know the 4 or 5 builders to call for Webster.
How did you build those relationships with those? And once you actually have some deals for them, then you kind of start going from there.
Well, and I took the time to learn the questions they're going to ask me.
Yeah.
Well, how wide is it? How deep is it? Is there any topography issues? What do I, what's weird about it? What can I build there? Is there new construction on the street?
Yeah.
All these things.
Yeah.
Because they use a formula, and once you know their formula, it makes your life so much easier.
Right.
You already know what they're going to pay.
And at this point, you go on a lead that could possibly be a teardown. You know exactly what that builder is going to pay on the back.
I do.
So it helps you so much and just gives you another weapon in your tool belt to be able to take down that house.
Exactly right.
And I know sometimes you buy houses where other wholesalers or rehabbers don't, because they don't know that exit strategy. It's a unique thing that you have. Some houses or lots are worth more as a teardown than they are as a rehab.
A lot of times. Yeah, if you use the rehabber model, your offer might be 85, and we might pay 125 as a teardown.
Yeah.
So that happens quite a bit.
Love those deals.
Love those deals. Me too. Some of my favorites.
All right. Let's see. I know you. Well, let me just ask you. You've been doing this a long time. You got any crazy stories? Anything that's really weird that's happened, or anything fun?
I need to narrow that down. I guess what's your favorite and craziest story? Because I know you got some.
The crazy stories? That lady that got catfished, going through that whole story.
Yeah.
I was like, man, oh man. Like when I heard, when she was telling me the story about why she was trying to sell the house, and my red flags just went through the roof.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was able to help that lady call the right authorities to try to get her helped. Right. And so that's crazy. I had the two brothers that were keeping mom captive.
Oh no. Wow.
And I read that on the news later, and I was just like, man, I remember those two guys. You know what I mean? It's just, you're dealing with other humans, right? So you're going to have crazy stories all the time. I would like to think it's not a crazy story that families fight, but almost every family is in some sort of heated argument about, dad said I could have that, and mom's, so I think I feel like a psychiatrist sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because I'm helping them with their problem. And I know whether they sell me their house or not, that I'm going to give them constructive either help to get to their finish line as well. Try to meet them at their level.
I see why you like working with builders every now and then.
Take the emotion side away.
Give you a break.
We've done really good too at providing our trust folder that we leave with people.
Yeah.
And that folder helps them in so many ways, because we know a lot of these people have that old car sitting there. We know they have those old LP records that they need to sell. And so we're trying to, even if we don't buy the house, here's some value that we've found and trusted.
So what you're talking about is when you go on a lead, there's a folder that's a nice, pretty looking folder. It says Faster House. It's got a lot of testimonials and stuff on it, but it also has some inserts in it.
Yep.
What are a couple of your favorite inserts that are in there?
The proof of funds letter sets us apart than a lot of other buyers.
So this is a letter from our bank just saying this
with his cell phone number on it. He says, give me a call if you have any questions, right? That sets us apart from most. We use a special sale contract written by the Board of Realtors. It's not something I made up in my basement. I really think the before and afters resonate a lot, because when you're selling mom's forever home, what are these guys going to do with it?
Yeah.
Right. They want to know, even if it's irrelevant. Truly, it's irrelevant. They want to know what you're going to do with it, and they see, oh wow, look, they opened that door, or they opened that up, and now they like that it's going to go. It's going to be taken care of.
Yeah.
They're passing the baton to somebody that cares.
Yeah.
And so that credibility folder, in there, like you said, we've got people that do VA benefits. We've got some charities that come and take furniture, people that buy records, guys that help from treasures down to trash. It's all there.
All the issues that people have when they inherit
in that exact situation.
And would you say that the majority of the houses that you go out on, there's not only the personal property, but there's also a lot of contents that these people are trying to figure out how to get rid of?
The contents are a lot of times harder than the house.
Yeah.
Because they know they have to sell the house. What I see with the families is that there's 4 or 5 kids. That means 4 or 5 husbands and wives as well. So that's 10 different opinions. Their grandkids, and everyone needs to make one swoop through mom's house for that piece of. They're going to take a piece.
Yeah.
And it should be, right? They're inheriting, whether it's a tchotchke or like my great grandpa. I have a dog statue. I was like 3 or 4 when I got it. That was the thing I picked.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think they just don't want to throw it all away. That would be right. But they don't want to give it away, and it's not really worth what they think.
Yeah.
And Dad, my favorite is, well, Dad paid $2,800 for that TV. Yeah. They're like, that's worth $0 today. Zero. It's like you have to pay someone to get rid of that TV.
Yes.
But Dad paid, so we get that. And so what I would say is if you have a month to close, tell them they have to get there in 2 weeks. Because you're going to need, no matter how much time you give them, they're going to take 31 days if you tell them it's 30.
Yeah.
And so I just said, you never lie to anybody, but just tell them that they need to get this figured out in 2 weeks, and that'll give you 2 weeks of fluff.
Yeah.
Drop your questions for Philip as we get to our final few questions here. Drop questions for Philip if you got some. I got one.
Yeah.
So you've been a wholesaler or a buyer or an acquisition person for a long time.
Yeah.
How do you stay motivated and continue to get better at your craft?
Great question. One of the earlier questions was, what happens as soon as I get a lead? I judge the crap out of that lead. And I shouldn't. I go, oh man, that zip code, that asking price. Nope. No, I already know.
Yeah.
I know, and I shouldn't do that. And it's based on stuff that I've lived through. So it's not like unfounded. It's just I shouldn't do that. Right.
Yes.
And so I try to say, okay, but let's go a little deeper here, But immediately, and if I had 20 acres and 63124, I'd be like, I've got the phone behind me. You know what I mean? It's all relative to what the deal is. And that's my secret is my 10,000 hours I've put in is in the St. Louis metro single family market.
Yeah.
Yeah. And along those lines, you've been in this business a long time, so have I. And you're always having to catch up to where the market is. Because I remember I was buying houses in 2004, 5, and 6, and then the values kept dropping, and I kept thinking, holy smokes, I got to keep dropping my offer. And it was hard because I was so used to paying up.
Yeah.
And then the opposite happened because we got so low.
Yes.
And values have been going up for the last, 8 years or whatever it is now.
Let's just use Florissant.
Yeah.
Houses that we used to pay for 45 are now 85.
Yeah.
And it hurts my brain to see that number go.
It's hard to keep adjusting.
Yeah, and it's forever adjusting. It reminded me of a story. There's a piece of property in St. Louis. It's 45 acres in Maryland Heights.
Okay.
It has come across my desk 6 times. And what's funny is it's always people are marketing to this person, they're calling them back, and then because they know Phil is the land guy.
Yeah.
Hey Phil, guess what I got? And I'm always like, let me guess. And they're like, how the heck do you know that? I go, because it's on a landfill and I worked it 10 years ago and it's never going to be a deal. And they're like, that's why I called you, right? Yeah. And so I think when people hear about, and it's funny just because if you're in this business long enough, you start to see some of the same deals. Hell, haven't you bought the same house multiple times?
Yes, a couple times.
Think of that. And I just got a lead the other day from a lady from a house we didn't buy, but I treated her so well. She referred like her friend's cousin or something. Yeah. That makes me feel good, right? Yeah. We try to help.
Yeah. Love it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Should we wrap this up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. You got any last parting words here?
Go faster house.
Yeah.
Go FasterFreedom. I mean, I think with the way the world is right now, you want something to be relying on. Like you have to take your own destiny in your own hands. Yeah. I won't say it's the stock market because I don't think that it is a lot of times.
I agree.
Unless you just like to gamble. And so I think real estate is that I've got a good W-2, but how do I provide for my family in a way that's just not my retirement over here?
Yep.
And I think, the faster house model is not to go super fast. It's to, you're talking if you had 1, 2, 1.25 even, where are you going to be in 10 years?
Yeah. Yeah. They add up over time. There's no
and to great numbers too. I mean, you guys can attest to this. Yeah. It adds up faster than you think. Yeah. And when I talk to somebody in their 20s, I laugh and go, man,
you got time.
Even in their 40s, you got time. It's just the earlier you start, the better off.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that guy, let's just say, what's the average man gets married at 28? He just got married, just started to have those kids. If he started right around that same time, how's he going to be when he's 48?
Yeah.
It's powerful.
It's good. It's
buy rental properties.
Yes.
Yes. All right, Philip, thanks for joining us today. Lucas, as always.
Absolutely.
And quick reminder to everybody. I don't know if this is a reminder, but just to emphasize that our club is starting up again next week in person. So we'll continue doing this live stream. So we'll be here 11:30 next Thursday on this live stream, but we will also be in person at the Water's Edge Banquet Center next Thursday at 6 p.m. So come on out and see us in person. It'll be a lot of fun.
It's beautiful. And there's food.
Thanks, guys.
All right. See you, everyone.
That's a pretty cool. That's that.